It's finally time for the second summer banner, and because of the silhouettes, I have a hint that it's going to be Summer Petra, which I'm very excited about, but also horrified. So let's jump into the banner, see what Petra can do, and I guess everybody else too. Oh, it's Alear again. How many Alears are we gonna get? I'm sorry. Oh my god. Okay, like she looks great, don't get me wrong, but we have so many Alears in the game now, it's actually insane. Like she gets an ult all the time, and she's a colorless infantry dragon again. They couldn't have done like something different, like a completely different weapon type, like a ranged weapon type. Okay. I'm expecting her to just power creep like legendary male Alear now. Okay, so we have our preference weapon, Maritime Arts. This has Slaying. It has a dual phase Brave weapon, so just like her and male Alear's other weapons. It has adaptive damage for ranged foes, so it's just like Dragon, Breath, nothing special there. She also gets +5 to all stats. Then she gets an additional set of +X to all stats based off the unique game titles. Like, so essentially like the same as like base Alear. The more game titles she has around her, the more stats she can get, up to 10. And she'll also get that amount of true damage as well. So she can get up to 10 true damage with her attacks, which is quite strong. She'll also get flat damage reduction, which is also based off X, where X is 5 times the total number of distinct game tiles. So let's say you have 3 different game tiles around her, she'll get up to 15, right? That's the max of flat damage reduction, which is very, very strong. That's a lot of flat damage reduction. And then also she'll have anti-guard as well. So very powerful dual phase Brave dragon weapon, just like all the other Alears. Okay, let's move on to her preference special, Bond Blast. This is going to increase damage by 50% of her speed when it triggers. And then at the start of turn, if she has an ally support partner, she'll give them a bonded effect. If not, she'll target the allies with the highest attack within 2 spaces. And what this essentially does is if they have that effect active, they get an ignore damage reduction when their special triggers. And then just like her legendary form, if she's within 3 spaces of an ally who's either her support partner or has that bonded effect, she'll be able to get non-pierceable DR equal to 40%. We then also have Speed Res Finish 4, Null C Destruct 4, and a new Tier 4 C skill, Even Res Wave D. And what this essentially does is gives out a visible res +6 to herself and allies within 2 spaces. And then if her res is greater than the foe's res +5, she gets a scowl effect, so very powerful, getting scowl in your C skill now. And then if it's an even number turn, she gets an additional res +6 during combat. So overall, what are the roles that female Alear is like really playing? She's playing exactly the same as her legendary form, almost like perfectly, where she is a support tank. She really just wants to be able to like take a lot of hits, dish out a ton of damage with brave attacks, while also offering a little bit of support with damage reduction piercing to that one support partner or whoever she bonds with. Overall, I do think this unit's kind of boring. I'm not a big fan of it. It's essentially just a power crept version of legendary female Alear, and like she's even the same like weapon type as legendary male Alear, so I'm just really not a big fan. Her art looks great though, so there is that. When it comes to game modes, she could definitely be used in like Ether Raid's offense as like an Omni tank, and she'll probably be a good raid boss in SD as well. Let's move on to our next unit. There's Petra. Oh my god. Ooh my god. She looks, wow, okay. Red flying bow. Okay, oh my god, there's some big warping there. Whew. She's got me acting crazy. Okay, let's start off with her preference weapon, Breaker Bow. Okay, so we have Breaker Bow. This essentially gives you Slaying. It has effective against Beast and Flying foes, so just like base Petra. It also has Canto 1, and then it has the big warping like, Tana has, or like Ninja Green, so some very great mobility there. She also is going to be able to have a speed defense dull effect, like a little speed defense where she can ignore those visible bonuses on the foe, which is really nice. She gets +5 to all stats, and then she gets an additional attack and speed +X times 6, right? We're going to add some math into this weapon for some reason. Essentially what she does is she checks the number of allies greater than or equal to 55 within 3 rows of 3 columns centered of herself, and then also any allies with speed greater than or equal to 40 in the same area, and she can get up to 3. So she can get up to an additional 18 attack and speed, which is a ton of attack and speed. So in total, she can get 23 attack and speed in her weapon, which is just completely and utterly ridiculous. And then after that, she's going to be able to have a special jump effect based off if she has an offensive special. So if she has an offensive special, she'll get cooldown count -A before her first attack. I know, we're going into variables, so it's very stupid. But essentially what she does is she checks again for those stat checks, and let's say there's one ally with like high attack. So she'll get 1 + 1, and it can't be higher than her max special cooldown at the start of combat. So like, let's say typically you're using Deadeye, your max special cooldown would be 2 because you have Slaying, right? And you have one ally there, so she would get special jump of 2, allowing her to proc Deadeye on her first attack, which is pretty strong. But then also, she gets an additional special jump on her follow-up attack based off B. Yeah, we're going to 3 variables for some reason. And this is X plus 1 minus her special cooldown at the start of combat. So essentially what this does is, once again, you check the number of allies with that meet those attack or speed conditions, you add 1 to it, and then you minus the special cooldown you started at combat. So let's say you start at 2 cooldown at the start of combat, right, because you're using DEDUE. So then you had 1 ally that meets that condition, it'd be 1 plus 1 minus 2, so you would get no special jump on your second attack. And so you really want like a high amount of allies that meet that condition, right? Like let's say you had 3, that would be 3 plus 1 minus 2, so you'd be back at 2, so you could proc another DEDUE. This essentially allows her to like proc DEDUEs twice in a row because she is using Desperation 4, which would be very strong. We also then, of course, have Desperation 4 and Speed Defense Crux. So we're getting that guaranteed follow-up attack in that low range again. She shouldn't really need that though because she does have like a lot of speed, but she doesn't have a form of no follow-up, so that might be the way they're going with it here, or they just want to introduce a new form of that skill. So overall, what is Petra really doing? Petra is a ranged nuke. 100% that's what she's completely doing. She's not really offering that much support to anyone else. You could kind of count Crux, but not really. She's mostly just going to be there to do a ton of damage, to proc a ton of DEDUEs back to back, and just completely annihilate things, which she should do a pretty good job of. The only thing I'm really worried about is the lack of offensive no follow-up, which is kind of a big deal. But the special jump is really nice, as it means that she doesn't really have to rely on like anti-guard or like anything like that. She can just get in there and do a ton of damage, and she's extremely mobile, right? Like being able to warp around is very, very nice, and having cancel 1 lets her get back out to safety. And it also means that her C skill is open for things like Guidance 4, Soaring Guidance, or even Crux. When it comes to game modes that Summer Petra could be really good in, I could definitely see her being used in Ether 8's offense and Summoner Duels. She can essentially fulfill the same role that Tana does, where she can kind of go in, jump in, destroy a block, and then allow your Winter Edelgard to warp in and like take out the enemy team. And she'll probably do that a little bit better than Tana, just because she's going to be able to hit a lot harder. But a lot of times Tana doesn't even do any damage in those kind of combats, so it's not the biggest deal. I can also definitely see her being used in Summer Duels, as she will be a pretty powerful nuke. The one thing, of course, is that you're going to want to offer her some support, which is going to be coming in the form of like no follow-up, or, you know, units who can meet that check, because she definitely wants a lot of units that can meet that check on her team. And so that means you either want like high attack units or high speed units, or both, right? That way it's really easy to get as much of those procs as possible. She should always be able to consistently hit like 1 DEDUE, but you really want to hit 2 on like that combat, so that way she can just completely annihilate something. Overall, I think Petra looks really strong, looks great. I'm very happy with her. Her art looks amazing. I'm kind of surprised they went like for pre-time skip Petra again. I figured they would go for like post-time skip, but maybe like because all the other Summer 3 Houses units have been pre-time skip, they decided to go this way. Either way, she looks great. Like she looks amazing, so I'm very, very happy. Let's move on to our demote for the banner. Okay, there. Everybody called that he would be the demote. I feel kind of bad, but typical, you know, male treatment on a Summer banner. We got an Infantry Colorless Dagger. We got Clanne with Small Spade Plus. What this essentially does, if his HP is greater than 25%, he'll get attack speed plus 5 during combat. He'll also get an additional attack speed plus X times 5 to unit, where X is again the number of allies with that speed or attack condition, the same one that Petra had. And then he'll also get special acceleration as well, which means that he'll be pretty good at accelerating into things like lethality. And he comes with some absolutely amazing fodder. Attack speed finish 3 is amazing. Amazing that you have like some really good bridge fodder there. And speed defense tempo 3 is also amazing, because it's like probably one of the optimal B skills for him, as that will essentially allow him to like really quickly go into lethality. So overall, this is a pretty nice kit, some nice inheritance, and a pretty solid inheritable weapon as well. So I know some people will be a bit disappointed that he isn't like a preference weapon or anything like that, but overall, pretty solid for a demote. Okay, who is our harmonic? Oh, it's Bernadetta and Goldmary. Oh my god. Oh my god, Jesus. I was not expecting this. I was not expecting this at all. I'm sure, I don't know how Bernadetta fans will feel about this, but she is getting a Brave version like literally next month, so you're definitely not missing out on too much. But it is funny to have Goldmary and Bernadetta, as they are like complete polar opposites. We do have an Infantry Lance unit, Blue Lance unit. That's pretty cool. I mean, Goldmary art, oh my god, Cubun, you really did your thing, didn't you? Holy crap. Okay, let's start at the top with Diva Pair Parasol. So this has Slaying, and then she's going to do a debuff on all foes within 3 rows of 3 columns centered on herself, where she'll do a defense check where if their defense is less than hers, plus 5, she'll inflict a penalty on their attack and speed equal to 50% of the foe's attack at start of combat, so that visible attack stat. And then also it will neutralize any foe's bonuses to attack and speed from skills like Fortify, Rally, or etc. So this is a nice little supportive effect she can offer while being a tank. She'll also get an additional effect if your HP is greater than 25%, where she gets a bonus to all of her stats equal to the number of allies within 3 spaces of her times 3 plus 5, so a max of 14 to all stats, really strong there as well. She'll get additional true damage equal to 15% of her attack during combat, and she'll inflict guard on the foe, and then lastly she'll heal 7 HP after combat. So we have a nice little tanking weapon here where it offers some support while also allowing her to be a pretty solid tank. It kind of reminds me of like Halloween Tamara in a sense. We then have godlike reflexes and attack speed finish 4. We then have a massive thing here. We have Legue's Friend 4 in the pool again. So we now have another option of getting it other than Emblem Ike, which is really big as this is like one of the most powerful skills in the entire meta. So being able to just have more options for that is really nice. And it means you don't have to kill your Emblem Ikes, which is a big win. Though you do have to kill Goldmary, so I don't know how much of a big win it actually is. We then have even attack wave N, where at start of turn you'll get another attack plus 6 as a visible bonus to yourself and allies within 2 spaces. And then if your attack is greater than the foe's attack minus 5, you get an additional 5 true damage during combat. And also whenever you deal damage during combat, you'll heal 5 HP, which is pretty nice. And if it's an even number turn, you'll get another attack plus 6 during combat. So decent C skill. I don't think it's really like amazing. It offers some extra healing and some attack, but typically as a tank, your C skill is pretty important, especially because you like want to run something like Breath of Life, or like you need like Pledge or something to keep your special like going off consistently. So I'm not exactly amazed by the skill, but it is something decent. We then have Goldmary's Harmonized skill, which grants a visible defense and res plus 6, resonant shields, and bonus doubler, and a new status effect as well in the form of Bulwark. So we actually now have Bulwark as a status effect, which is insane. So what Bulwark essentially does is like it shuts down people from running past you, and it is very, very valuable on tanks. We've definitely seen that on something like, Desert Altina or even like Legendary Male Alear, where it works really well in SD. So being able to give this out as like a harmonized skill and it affecting any 3 houses that are engaged in it is pretty nuts, because you can shut down a lot of plays with that, which is really, really nice. And the fact that she has the even attack wave also means that she can just like buff 3 of her stats with bonus doubler, which is also pretty cool. And of course, the thing I have to mention though is that Bulwark is a status effect, means that Brave Crom can steal that once again, which just makes Brave Crom a little bit better. So, it's just something to take account of. We can also see Goldmary's stats right here with her 40 HP, 66 attack, so with the visible plus 6 attacks, it's probably 60 base, 46 speed, 47 defense, and 16 resistance. So she's some very low resistance, but she's quite bulky on the defense size. Okay, so when it comes to roles, what is Goldmary really doing? She is also a tank support, so just like Alear earlier in the banner, she's going to be offering some nice support to the team, while also being a very powerful tank herself. Godlike Reflexes allows that to just charge with Legue's Friend 4. But overall, I do think that like Goldmary is a good tank, but definitely not like the top tier of the current meta. When it comes to game modes, I could definitely see Goldmary being used in Ether 8's offense as an Omni tank or a raid boss in some of those as well. Just like most of the other tanks, if you give enough support, they can definitely work. So I do think Goldmary is strong, but definitely not like a meta shifter by any means. And our free Tempest Trial unit will be DEDUE. I am so pumped. I love DEDUE. I think he's an amazing character. And I think I got done pretty dirty earlier on. So seeing another copy of DEDUE makes me really, really happy. And look at that sprite. He is ripped. Oh my god, he looks amazing. So very excited to see what DEDUE does. If he's going to be another armor or if he's going to be like an axe infantry. Either way, I'm going to be pretty happy. Okay, let's move on to the final part of the video, should you pull. So when it comes to pros, we do have some pretty powerful units here. Goldmary and Alear are going to be pretty solid Omni tanks. I do think female Alear is the better of the two, but we also already have copies of Alear in a lot of different forms, so that's something to consider as well. The most notable thing for sure would be even Res Wave, as it does offer a way for units other than dragons to get a scowl effect, which is pretty nice, but you do need that resistance check, so that's something to consider. When it comes to the units themselves, like I said, Alear and Goldmary are good. I think Petra will be a very solid nuke, and she will be very good there as well, but I don't think she's like a crazy top tier nuke you have to have. The real reason why you'll be pulling on this banner is because these are your favorites. If these are your favorites, obviously pull. I'm going to be pulling. There's no way I can resist a Petra ult. Like, I've been waiting years for that, so I'm very excited to finally get another copy of Petra. And of course, the last pro we have to talk about is Legue's Friend 4. That skill is just so broken. If you don't have a copy of it and you really want to like get a copy, this is another chance to do that, so that is something to consider as well. Now, when it comes to cons, I don't think this banner is like meta defining by any means. So if you're like a big meta head, this is definitely not the banner you need to pull on. And when it comes to the other banners, we do have Summer Banner 1 as well. So that's also an option to pull for. But the big banner we have to talk about is Emblem Celica. Emblem Celica has already proven to be ridiculously powerful just because of her like insane mobility. And even more so because of her Emblem Ring. Being able to give warping to like literally anyone is such a big deal. And so I think if you are going to be pulling on a banner, I do think Emblem Celica offers more value than either Summer Banner currently. And of course, the last thing I have to talk about, the one I always bring up, is that Choose Your Legends will be next month. And so if you're trying to go for Choose Your Legends units, definitely save orbs because there are 4 sparks typically on that banner. With that said, I'm super excited for Petra. I'll be pulling on this banner, absolutely. And I'd love to hear from you now. What do you think of these units? What do you think of that art? Oh my god. And are you going to be pulling on this banner? As always, I'd like to thank all my members for their constant support. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. This has been Oblivion, and I'll catch you all later with more Petra.